Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for joining us for what was a very interesting round, Chris. All the planning in the world, all of the late nights of researching stats, out the window. It's anarchy. Anarchy. I have no idea what I'm doing this year, Chris.
It's so funny. We literally just started chatting on Sunday night. And we're just like, nah, fuck SC, fuck this
Everything,
shit.
catch you
I don't
later.
even like standard anymore. Let's just focus on draft. It's been
Everything out the window.
tough week. It's been a tough week.
And then people and then you see some people with midfield madness of all the people that never would make top 10 actually being top 10. What is it? 7 of the top 10 forwards have never been there before in their lives.
Yeah, it's lot of breakouts, a lot of new trends, and a lot of guys to jump on, jump off. It's just I don't know. I don't even know what to make of this year because the scorings have been so erratic. It's like crazy erratic. So.
And not just a breakout for the players, Chris. I heard Paige, it's the first time she's been Supercoach relevant ever. So congratulations, Paige, on that one.
Oh, wow. That was a good sledge. That was good gear.
First of all, look, with a little cheers here. We're doing a little Canadian club today, Chris.
Yes, we are, yes.
And when everything turns shit, move to Canada.
Well, apparently. So they say.
Apparently. So cheers to you.
Or New Zealand. Same thing.
We'll start with our socials though. Facebook.com/SC Insider. Twitch, it is SC_Insider_. No, actually,
that's Twitter.
Twitter, SC_Insider_.
We're going to sort out our handles, eh?
Twitch, Chris, we're new. It's fine.
SC_Insider on Twitch.
On Twitch. Wonderful.
And we are also on YouTube as well.
Yes.
YouTube was popping off earlier this week, so well done to YouTube. I have actually been thinking we could potentially convert completely to YouTube Live now. So
don't mess with the people, Chris.
I don't know. Just let us know out there.
Not for this year.
We'll see how we go.
Not for this year. Surely there's enough anarchy in everyone's lives at the moment.
Who knows? But look, interesting weekend. I think overall what I took out of it is if you score good, like a 130 score last year is now a 150 plus.
Yeah, the high highs and the low lows, our team for last
high.
week, Chris.
But having said that, there's also been some very, very good rookie scores, especially from the forward line. And I attribute to that, a goal is worth like 20 points now.
Yes.
So you get a single goal, bang, you're up to 20.
Yeah, you kick a couple, you get some contested marks, and you're well and truly in it. King as well had kicked some goals and got a couple good marks, so that was well and truly...
Guys like Curtis Taylor, obviously, we had Sturt in that first week with the 100.
Yep.
3 goals will get you 100. Like if Tom Lynch had that one quarter, he literally barely touched the ball in the first quarter.
3 goals.
Second quarter, he was on 70 or something stupid. Like...
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's done.
Not only that, the differential between winning sides and losing sides, if you have a look at their slice of the pie, it is substantially less, which means that normally if you lose a game, you could still have some really good players. Now it's less. You will find less people turning up doing well in losing teams.
Yes.
Unless they have a freak game, which is also
winning
fair,
teams have like 8 or 9 guys that are all
going crazy. So I think that's also the issue, which means that players from Adelaide generally won't do well this year. Sorry to Adelaide.
Sledging Adelaide early.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
We're on the Gold Coast train now. Everyone's
we
on
are. Don't even. We'll get to that.
Coast.
But anyway, so today it is really informal because it is our thoughts. We're not doing well, so our thoughts don't really matter too much. But hopefully, we bring you some entertainment and a little bit of insight on what we're noticing.
Speaking of, our scores were identical last week.
We were twinning.
Identically shit.
We were twinning. Hey, but what's our team, Chris?
It's next year. It's all about fun this year.
This year, we're having fun. But this year, it's called Not Our Worst.
Yes.
Wasn't our worst. Horrible round. Not our worst.
wasn't our worst though. So we're good.
Yes. So for people sending us messages being like, "Hey, fix our team." Look, we're all in the same boat at this point, and if we had a bit more knowledge, we would have.
I think everyone's in this.
If we selected our team from today, it would be wildly different.
The team that won the week looked like an autofill team.
Yeah,
it literally.
I wish I could autofill my team.
It may have been an autofill team. Like it was just so random. Like I can't imagine anyone actually selecting all that stuff. Like it was just insane. Anyway,
it is.
Speaking of people who aren't winning or losing, let's take you all back to Thursday night. You see that segue? Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I practiced that earlier. So Collingwood and Richmond obviously played Thursday night. I thought the game was fantastic. What I didn't like was obviously the skill level was a little bit down.
Yeah.
But without it being high scoring, that's why everyone complained. But it was an arm wrestle the entire game for control of the ball. And I thought that Richmond largely outplayed the Pies for the majority of the game. So they probably deserved to win. However, to get to where they got to, they had to get 3 dubious goals, all with question marks on them.
Dubious.
They were all dubious. However, what I'd say is that if you don't score a single goal in a half of football, you don't deserve to win the game anyway.
That is also fair.
So,
I believe I did say it, Chris, when they hit a lead. I said, this is a flashback to the 2018 grand final. And then what do you know?
Yeah.
I did enjoy the game. I know it was a low-scoring affair, but it felt tight. It felt
like an arm wrestle. It felt like look, the top teams are always going to be good defensively anyway.
Here's the thing, Chris. It was tight. It was tense. And if there's one thing I know, I like tight and tense together. It's never a bad time.
Exactly. It's always
it's always a good time.
And definitely wasn't my worst.
Yeah, look, fair enough. Having the fake noise after a draw, probably not the best thing in the world there. But look, I just enjoyed footy and being back, and I think the people bitching and moaning and pissing in their cup. A, you're a West Coast player, but B, you shouldn't throw rocks at a glass house. Happy football's back. I was just enjoying it.
And on that remark, let's go through some of the scores. So Taylor Adams popped off in the first half, went really well with a 131. Good draft position with Taylor Adams.
New vocab for you, Chris, is it?
Popped off.
You've said it a couple times.
Pop.
Was it pop? What's our poker term?
Repop.
Yeah, so someone like if they re-raise, I'm like, he's repopped it.
Oh, he's repopped.
Popping it up, repop.
I don't know what we're
doing. Shout out to Damien Gunn.
Obviously, Jeremy Howe has been going real great guns.
I regret not bringing him in, Chris.
Look, I think his role is defined. He's going to be that loose behind the ball. He's the outlet kick. He's the guy they look to get the ball into the hands of. If he's not getting it, Braden Maynard is. And I have been super impressed. Someone who's a smoky that could be on your waiver wire, maybe not now. Braden Maynard's going really well and flying under the radar. He's got a 105 to back up from his... let's have a look at what he is averaging now. So his average score is 104.5. So his other score must have been a 104. So he's had 2 tons and Maynard's just quietly chipping along.
Yep.
So he looks to be the outlet release kick on the left-hand side of their defence because he's left-footed, obviously, and Jeremy Howe is the right side. So both of them have been going.
But even then,
well.
I don't think Crisp had a good game, but he had a 108, so he kicked some long down the lines again, and
he's playing.
It wasn't bad. So it's hard to tell though with all their hair.
Yeah. They all have the same hair color, which is just all ridiculous.
Of them. And you're like, even sometimes you're like, is that Howe? And you're like, no, it's Crisp. Or,
Crisp does play better up the ground. He plays better on a wing, or he sometimes gets some time on the ball, and then he's actually a better player. I think he's more physical. He can do run with rolls as well. So he just really hasn't been that guy that they're looking to get the ball into his hand because he really has one move. It's the long kick down the line. So it's fair enough.
Yep, Grundy got a bit of a hit as well, 115. So
yeah, and there's rumours with Grundy that this week he may miss, but
that'd be interesting. Dusty and Grundy missing would be horrible.
Yeah. So, however, the club said that he'll probably play. There was an interview earlier today. I think maybe SCN. I could be wrong with that. With Phillips, and he said that he'll be right by Thursday. Like it's just he just got a bit of a knock and he'll be right. So I don't think there's too much worry inside the club. However, just be aware that if Grundy doesn't get up, we're all screwed, so it's all good, whatever.
That's fair.
Now, Josh Dacos is someone I want to touch on briefly. He was absolutely brilliant, especially in that first half of the game, and someone who's obviously a very cheap option. I definitely think he's very draft relevant. However, the problem with Dacos in general, especially for standard, is obviously what happens when Treloar comes back. That even might be this week. Does he get pushed more forward? Because he was playing on the ball, pushing up alongside the wing, playing a high half forward role.
Yep.
What happens there? No idea, really. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think it was also just evident, touching on just the trends. Intercept defenders killing it. Sicily had a good game. Even then, he wasn't great, but he was the highest scorer for Hawthorn.
Yep.
So you look at the defenders that are intercepting and actually kind of rebounding with their foot are doing well. Those that kind of carry and run and link up a little bit, not as much.
No.
Which
rebound 50s are actually working out to be quite effective because you do get points for a rebound 50. So when you actually kick the ball outside of 50, that's an action that is calculated into a Supercoach score.
Yeah, and you're going to see that fluctuations in forwards. Like Heaney went absolutely monster, kicked a lot of goals in the first game. Second game, bugger all, like 60. Which
interesting the way that's all happening this year. On the Tiger side of things, I mean, Tom Lynch got 113, basically all from that one quarter.
Yep.
He basically did nothing in that first half and then comes out of the third quarter, kicks the first 3 goals, and then bang, he's all of a sudden their top scorer.
Richmond were just heavily even. There wasn't too many standouts. I think you had a few defenders doing quite well. Hurley's interesting, but
I thought he was like people said. Hurley was fantastic.
No, he started off the first half.
He started off super slow, but all of his possessions as well.
Didn't know him.
He didn't really work for him. They were just looking for him as the outlet. A lot of the times when Hurley got the ball, he was just an uncontested mark in their defense while they were switching the play. And that's why he's scoring, because he's getting those long kicks, long rebound 50s, uncontested. I don't think a lot of his game was contested. I didn't think he played fantastic. I mean,
no.
I thought, okay, so if you're having Hurley doing his job and Howe doing his job, Howe was best on ground, in my opinion. I wouldn't even think that.
He had a cracking game.
Had Hurley potentially in the votes and maybe on the cusp, but I didn't think that he was fantastic defensively. I just thought he distributed the ball well. So
fair enough. Let's move on. Otherwise, Chris will talk about Collingwood all day.
This is true. So Geelong and Hawthorn. So Selwood came out and absolutely had a banger. Yeah.
So people that get contested possessions mainly are doing really well. Those who are on the outside, not as well.
Well, there's two components to it. You got to have high numbers and high contested possessions, and all of a sudden, if you have 25 disposals and more than half of them are contested, you go on 150. That's literally what's happening in the context.
Real had more than 50% contested, which is absolutely bonkers. Absolute freak, that kid. I've never seen... I know there is a set structure to this, but I've never seen someone go that gangbusters. Again, case in point, though, Reece Stanley comes in at the ruck, scores a 122.
Yep.
It's the ruck... I don't even know what it is. And no one knows how the scoring is actually set, because the quarters are shorter. They've obviously changed their system, whatever it is, and it was always this, it's like playing 5-card hold'em, and they've kept all their cards under the table.
Yep.
You have no idea. And before, at least they came out saying, right, this is worth this, and this is worth this, and this is worth this. Now it's shorter quarters, and it's like, everything's out.
Well, what I don't understand is how the scaling is applied, because typically right now what's happening is games are finishing and there's about 300 points left of scaling. Not only that, they're also scaling into quarters. So I reckon, estimate there's about 500 points that's not being used right now in games.
So much bias.
It's ridiculous.
And that's a horrible thing to say, but my honest opinion is, and even players players that I own, like Josh Kelly, you look at it and there's no way he deserved the points he got when he got them. Right? Fife, yes, second half killed it. Before that, he got given... It was like, I think he kicked one goal and did like a little something, and it was like he went up like 28 points. And I was like, fuck off.
Yeah, Fife was on like 12.
He was on nothing.
And then all of a sudden I look back and he's on 75. I was like...
and I'm sure there might be some actual...
He had that good quarter though.
His second half, amazing, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying he didn't justify his score, but when you look at some things that people do and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Whereas someone does a lot of other things, they don't get it. So I'm like, okay. I think there's certain names... And I've had people in my team, which I'm very grateful for, by the way. No, I'm not going to lie. But you look at it and you're like, no way.
Well, obviously they can't change it for this year, but they adjusted the ruck rules a few years ago to more benefit rucks that hit out to advantage, right? That was the big rule. The reason for that is rucks before that were undervalued. No one gave a shit about rucks because they weren't very, very valuable position. It made it for really boring Supercoach.
So it's like every one they get now is more weighted in a shorter game?
Now, because of that, so now it's gone the complete other way. 5 of the top 10 Supercoach players right now are all ruckmen.
Yeah.
In terms of average, which is it's stupid. It's ludicrous that should happen, right? So they probably and look, they're not going to do it just for one season, but really it should be rolled back. Hit out to advantage should be scaled less.
Yeah.
Because 5 points for hit out to advantage, and then you're getting scaling on top of that. Like, it turns out to be 7-8 points for a hit out to advantage. It's ridiculous. No wonder Gorn's getting like 184 against the rookie ruckman.
That rookie ruckman gets a 134.
On the top of my head, so he went 184. Grundy in week 1 went 179. You've got guys like Naismith getting 120s, a rookie ruckman getting 130s.
Yep.
Rob went 164.
He went huge. Goldie went huge. Yeah, he went big as well.
I mean, like, really? That to me just says there's a flaw in the system. Because I don't think Gawn played that well. Played good.
First half, I thought he did well.
I thought honestly, in my opinion, Carlton's midfield got absolutely towed. They should be sharking to Gawn's taps.
I actually
they were just letting the midfield just run onto the football. It's like, do you even know what being a defensive midfielder is?
I actually think watching it, I think Petrarca's impact was huge in the first half.
Oh yeah, Petrarca
he still scored really well, but it could have been.
I just felt, and we're probably a little bit ahead of time here. I just felt that Carlton's midfield, just honestly, they got to wake up and start being accountable because that is ridiculous. Gary Ablett, so this is perfect for him 16-minute quarters. I tell you what, Gary Ablett is back.
He might even get another year out.
He could be I reckon he's guaranteed top 6 forward if he can. But obviously, how many games are you going to play?
Well, they're talking about apparently they waited too long to rest him last year, so that's the contentious element there.
If he rests, what does he rest for? He's already had 3 months rest. How long does he rest for in the season? 2 weeks?
That's
maybe a week.
You wouldn't play one game and rest him, surely.
Who knows?
Interesting though, Tom Stewart again killing it, 119. Yep. Another really good intercept defender. I think his name sticks out more. Like I honestly thought Harris Andrews got a lot of intercept marks, didn't score as well.
No,
but Stewart uses it better as well.
It's also the use. Stewart, look,
interesting.
I mean, we had this chat on the top 10 podcast where I said that I think Stewart's guaranteed top 6 again this year, and I think again, based on the existing evidence of 2 rounds, argue that with me now.
Oh, I'm not arguing anything now, but everything that we said in the top 10 is no longer relevant because all the scoring's completely messed up.
I agree with you.
And here I am with 4 defending premiums when defenders are cooked, generally speaking, for the top tier that we thought would be.
Yep.
And forwards, you could have spent 2 million across bloody easily.
You could have had a
5 forwards.
Yeah, and who cares about Whitfield or Dusty?
2 million, 5
Stuff
forwards,
them.
easy.
But no one needs them.
Yeah.
They're not even in the top 10. It's so bad.
We're having a little
speaking of top 10 forward, Brendan Parfitt is currently a top 10 forward. Only played the 1 game, but he got 114 and he's playing basically pure midfield. So there's one to watch out for. He could literally explode. Great in draft teams if he's not already on a side. Watch out for Brendan Parfitt.
I actually wanted Parfitt. Someone stole him.
He's also going to get at least three votes every second week.
His head.
He's got the cornrows.
So
mate,
cool.
He looks sick. He looks great.
He looks like a baby Chico, nearly.
He does. He
looks like a baby Chico.
That's our mate. His name's Chico, by the way.
Chad Wingard did not do well, Chris.
No, unfortunately not.
But again,
no one on Hawks did they? They got a smashing.
They got absolutely smashed. But not only that, Geelong were really quick with the pressure to cut off any kind of run that they were trying to generate, whereas Brisbane are a little bit more laxy-daisy. They let you take it on because they'll take it on.
Yeah.
Plus, they got flogged. So, yeah, if Hawthorn win, and I expect them to bounce back, I think Chad and the like will do much better for it.
It helps having Jaeger back this week, which they've already confirmed. Unfortunately, they have announced that Tom Mitchell has a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Which is not good for anyone that has him, like me.
Yeah, was it re-injured, kind of re-niggled?
Yeah, and they said, look, he's not going to miss games. He's just got an aggravated shoulder, which means it's going to inhibit his output, which is annoying for a guy who handballs as much as he does, and he gets in and under.
Also,
have a shoulder injury.
He might have shoulder surgery at the end of the year.
At some point. Well, yeah, so...
Seems it.
I mean, if I had Mitchell, I'd be moving him on to whichever premium you didn't get. If you don't have Neil, that's what I'd be doing.
I'm not that harsh. I'd say if you have Mitchell, you can kind of keep him, but...
Nah, he's not going to... Depends. If you already have Neil, and if you already have all the top mids, then you don't really need to switch
so if you
around.
have Titch and you can get Neil in, sure.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, what it says to me is that I'm not moving heaven and earth to bring in Titch.
No, definitely not.
Like I was originally, because I was originally planning to go like
You'll pick him up at 550 sometime in the next few weeks. Like, he's only had a 119 and a 95. So he's averaging, what's that, 108?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, he's going to go down in price. So he'll be 550 before too long. And you can pick him up as
Titch at your own peril.
For
me, I'm going to wait.
I can't see him going gangbusters like everybody else is. He's still got the guy that they're going to tag, right? I don't know. It's a strange one, but also a little bit undervalued. Segal, I thought, played really well, but gave away a lot of free kicks, which is why he's actually down there at 71. So a little bit disappointing.
No, that Hawks of here's the actual real interesting part. They got flogged in defence. They're playing Richmond this week. Richmond have more small forwards. They can't play tall. But actually, no, they didn't cut anyone. So man, Hawthorn's getting flogged.
Nah, look,
they didn't cut anyone. So who are they playing? They're playing what, 4 talls in defence?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the way that their backline's set up.
They're getting flogged.
I mean, there's no agility in that backline right now, which is unfortunate. But we'll have to see how that works out, because typically how Hawthorn play against Richmond, they play pretty well because they do play controlled football and force them to kick long. If they can force Richmond to kick long consistently, they'll win the game.
Fair.
But if Richmond play their knock-on, like, aggressive pressure and get their game style, they score quick and they're going to pound the shit out of them.
Jesus.
Because as soon as that wall breaks for Hawthorn...
Oh, they're done.
That's it. So if they can control the game from the first quarter and get into their flow of game, they have a chance. But if it's 5 goals down at the end of the first quarter, No way.
Right.
They're done.
Well, let's move on. I think that's enough for that. Brisbane
Freo.
and Fremantle at the Lockie Neal show, which I was big on Lockie Neal. I think in my original setup, I was only just short of being able to afford him. And then I wanted to bring him in. And a lot of my teams had him because, now I was like, cool, well, if I make some changes, I'll have enough money to bring him in.
This is good, by the way.
It is lovely. Thank you.
The issue is it's not going to last very long.
No, well, I'm already... You say that, but I'm already nearly done. So here's the funny thing, and this is my approach for this year, is one, I wish I had Lockie Neal. Two,
Wasn't my worst.
Definitely
Three.
wish, not my worst. Three, I'm gone with the fuck it attitude, Chris. And the reason being is that...
so true.
Well, I'm talking to you, and I was like, yeah, tossing up some trades. And you said, join me in bringing in Zach Williams, because I spoke about it. I was like, sure. So I brought him in my team. I didn't have Neal, I didn't have Gawn, which Gawn was my big one. I actually had a team lined up of 4 Melbourne ins. Rivers, Gawn, Viney, and Bennell. Because I was going to go a bit early to free all that up. And I was like, geez, 4 demons, that's a bit much. And then I was like, oh, maybe I won't. And then someone else was like, nah, do the other one. I was like, yeah, cool, why not? And then Chris was like, join me and Zach Williams. I was like, yeah, why not? So then I was like, geez, I got
You're
no...
yes, man.
I was
Yes,
like,
man.
yeah,
Yes, man.
I was like,
Yes,
I've got
man.
no captain. I was like, right, so I'm playing a league. And I was like, right, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm going Dunkley. Surely Dunkley can't have 2 bad rounds in a row. And then we're talking to Matty.
131's not too.
No, but we're talking to Matty in our Supercoach group, and he's like, "Oi, join me captaining Josh Kelly."
And you're like, yeah, why not?
I just said that's exactly. I was like, yeah, why not? I was like, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, have some fun with it. I'm playing for leagues mainly this year.
He's a good player to watch.
Anyway, yeah. Well, his roles changed and he did horrible. So
It's true.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Lockie Neal was hilarious to me because
he's so good.
He's lining up on Nat Fyfe at the centre
Surely.
bounces, and literally like.
Hello
the ball
there.
goes up, they go, hey, and
Hi,
they
friend.
just go,
Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
Catch you later.
And then Neil just takes off, and Fast's like, oh, he's running. Nah, fuck that. I'm not that guy. Like, I don't know if it's a game plan to just let Lockie Neal just go to the next contest, and Neil's just going contest to contest to contest with no one on him. And like, if it's a ball up, Fyfe comes back into position. Oh yeah, how'd you, mate? Like, it was so bad. Fyfe's defensive pressure is at all-time low. He gives 0 fucks. Surely, as captain of the football club, you've got to set an example. But nah, he doesn't give a shit.
Well, here's the funny thing, right? You would think that after those efforts, the first couple rounds, that West Coast would pay attention to Neal, right?
Oh,
However,
no.
they paid no attention to Rao. Actually, I think they kind of did pay attention to Rao, and Rao just dominated them.
As we know, it's like 4 to 6 weeks before coaches go, oh shit, we probably should tag that guy. It's like, seriously, coaches forget. Or what they do is they go, oh no, they back their game plan in. They've been spending months and months on their game plan thinking, yep, this is the way that we're going to win.
It just hasn't worked yet.
They just haven't factored in the fact that the opposition are probably better than they are.
Well, it's like
So
Melbourne.
they're like, oh, well, now I've got to adjust.
Well, it's like Melbourne last year. Like, okay, so if we keep betting, then if we keep upping our bets and holding firm, we'll start to win.
Just keep following the game plan that's not working.
Surely we can't lose the house.
So good.
Just keep backing
Actually,
it in.
if I keep doubling it on black, eventually I'll win.
Exactly. Every losing hand, and they did it for 20 rounds, and they only landed on 4.
I mean, it's great in theory.
Just keep shipping all your chips in every round.
I'm sure that you know what they're saying. Wasn't my worst.
It wasn't my worst. It's like Matty working at the casino. It's like you just look at someone like, I'm going again. Okay, sir, it's red. Red, like, damn it, we're going again.
It's so exactly that. It's just mental to me that Lockie Neal can just run around and no one on him. I actually don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's this year's suited to him though. High contested possessions, high disposal, and kicks goals.
But the thing, like, even like his possession sometimes, it's just loose ball gets, like, because there's no one on him.
Yeah.
He's the only one in that vicinity, so he just pumps out a loose ball get, cheap handball, bang, 8 points. I'm good. Let's go. Like, it's silly. Like, the way that scoring is right now, it's just dumb.
It's so Philly.
It's so dumb.
So Philly.
Michael Walters played absolutely fantastic, and it was awesome just to watch him play. 148. I think that this year is going to be good for him, even though he's playing more forward. Because, again, you kick 3 goals, bang, you're turning up. So if he's having those minutes and kicking goals, the thing is, you have to kick the goals. If you don't kick goals, you are not scoring as a forward.
He will fluctuate, but he was dominant. He was probably, second best on, maybe? I think he was definitely, phenomenal.
Luke Ryan bounced back after he had a really poor first quarter.
Yep.
And a poor first game, to be honest. But that was, like we said, back-related generally. But exactly the Luke Ryan that I thought we were going to see this year was the Luke Ryan we saw on the weekend.
Well, we did hear with the back issues recurring from what we spoke about at the end of last year.
Yep.
But the COVID time off probably would have actually given him a lot of time to actually let it settle.
Yep.
And to actually do some strength and rehab. So good to see him back on the performing list.
Starcevic. Now.
Oh, effing Starcevic.
Effing Starcevic. So here's an interesting thing,
Someone I should have brought in. Yes. And everyone's getting lucky now.
Well, people are lucky, but at the same time, I think you can possibly still calculate him into a trade.
Is he 190 now?
He's 178. So if you have still Zerk Thatcher, you could still technically trade down to him. He's got a break-even of negative 26, which means he's going to make you another cash for a little bit longer. He's also got, so this week he's due to make 30k if he hits his break-even. So
what's his break-even, Chris?
If he hits his projected score. What's his projected score this week? Oh, doesn't even show it here.
That's okay. The only issue, though, as I'll talk about the downside, is that Witherden and Ainsworth both were omitted. Yes, they won, so you would expect they play this week. I don't expect there are any changes, and they were really happy with his performance from everything I've heard. However, you have not much room to move when you are Starcevic. You could be easily on their crap heap.
That is true. His job security is not fantastic.
But if you keep performing like anything, you'll make money and you keep your role.
I don't think it's the worst thing because
we said that about Marshall, remember?
There's so few playing rookies right
Remember
now.
We said that about Marshall? Oh, no, he's just holding that until Longer comes back.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then, who knew?
But I didn't realise, first of all, I don't know if you obviously watched the game. Starcevic looks huge. I don't know if he just packed on huge amounts of kilos over the COVID break. He looks big.
He was the one I was big on in the preseason because they kept talking about him, and then in the JLT and stuff, I was like, oh, he's not really doing that much.
No, he didn't. He really didn't perform in the JLT. He didn't even perform in game 1. So that 99 could be out of nowhere. But if you need someone that's going to be able to make a little bit of cash, and you just need that person on the pine because you don't have anyone else, he's an option. Obviously, Rivers as well is an option. We'll get to him a bit later.
That's also why I lost people like him.
And just so you know, on the horizon, Hill from Freo has been, the coach has said he's likely to play this week. So Hill and Hogan are both likely ins this week. So two to watch out for. So you may want to hold off because you get a week of Hill this week.
Yep.
And then you can potentially do BCT next week if that's still your floated trade.
It'll be interesting. It's interesting, and there's definitely quite a few of those options from that 170 mark to the 210 mark at the moment in the defensive line.
Well, the other option is if Noble doesn't get up, so Noble could be one to go out.
People are overreacting.
I think so as well. I think
they're playing against Richmond, a high pressure forward team, which makes a rebound defender highly accountable. Well, highly accountable.
The way that they play their half forwards, it means they come up really high and then they push back really far. For two things. First of all,
who do Pies play this week?
Pies play on Saturday afternoon, and I don't know who they play.
Oh, Chris, you are such a bad supporter.
So there's two things. So obviously, the halfbacks or high halfbacks that the Collingwood are going to employ in that situation, they basically play lockdown roles to stop those half forwards to keep pushing up. So he wasn't playing very loose at all.
They're playing the Saints, Chris.
He did turn the ball over a bit, but against the most. Probably arguably the best attacking side in the AFL.
Yeah.
Collingwood gave up 36 points. He's a part of that defence. Yes, he turned the ball over a bit, but I don't think Noble had a bad game. So I think he's probably still in line to line up this week anyway, but proof will be tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I'm holding him. They play Saints this week, so I think Pies will do well.
Oh, Saints played good.
They did play well, but they also played well against a crap side.
It's true.
Collingwood have looked really good, and I don't think they're going to stagger like they did last week.
One that's good for draft size, James Aish continues to score pretty well. He got a 94 this week. He's having a career high in disposals, playing across that half-back line onto the wing. I think that could be good.
Show us your Bewley.
Brayshaw, unfortunately, his game time still isn't edging up. He's playing in the midfield and he scored an 88, but his game time means time to cut him, in my opinion.
Man, that hurts.
He's just not playing enough football to be able to effectively score. He can score well, but unfortunately, again, sometimes even when he does get that extra game time, his disposal lets him down and then he doesn't score as well either. So I think he's capped this season.
Good for Hayden Young to get some game time. Although the funny thing was he has a really good kick apparently, but though he was getting rushed.
He looked good though.
Yeah, handballing. Yeah, he looked pretty good. But I mean, he handballed a couple because he was in time.
I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was,
but
he was too bad.
Show us your Bewley.
Bewley got 52 for those that obviously bought him in. which is better than Ben Long, which I bought in instead of Bewley. So that's great. That's really interesting. Days. Yeah, I really like that. On to Carlton Melbourne, which we already have touched on. Obviously, gone with the 184. Clayton Oliver proves that if he's not getting tagged, he's going to rack it up because as soon as after the first quarter, Petracca was locked down.
Yeah.
So Petracca
before
absolutely
that,
went
Viney,
nuts.
he was on Viney for the first quarter. Viney luckily was tagged, didn't do too well, came back into it, and I think he got about 90, 86.
86, yeah.
That's right, he was on 89, then went backwards.
But it's like, honestly, Petracca was arguably like peak Petracca. I've never seen him play that good.
Right,
except for
that JLT game where he scored like a 117. You're like, whoa, where'd this come from?
Blow me away how good he played. I couldn't believe that he only got a 126 after all that.
Right.
I thought he was robbed. The first quarter, I've never seen him be so dominant. He got 10 possessions. He was bursting away from the packs. He had contested possession. He was using the ball well.
Yeah. Was he on 40 odd?
No, he ended up getting like 55, 60. But like as opposed to like Gawn. Like Gawn had one good quarter and gets like 90 points in that quarter. Like it was dumb.
And Pitney was on like 50 as well and did nothing.
This is what I mean. I think the rucks aren't scaled properly. Like that was as dominant a quarter as you can have for a midfielder in football, and he still only got maybe.
You know what's going to annoy me though is if they change it on the fly and then we start making adjustments based on.
They won't because they're not going to change anything else for this year.
I don't know. They might adjust.
They might adjust
their.
Wasn't my worst.
They might. Yeah, wasn't my worst. Wasn't my worst. Wasn't my worst. Definitely wasn't.
But look, Salem obviously started on the kick-ins with a 94. So again,
Stephen May took some as well.
That's true, and also Rivers. Rivers played really well. His use was really good. Yep. He looked composed. He's hard at the ball when he needs to be. I like
pretty
him.
Strong, yeah.
Defender mid, 120, 117k. I think if you're going to do a downgrade option and you're looking for a defensive rookie, I think he's good. I think he's going to be able to hold that spot for a bit. So. Outside of that,
Sam Petrovsky-Seton, Chris, if only you made that bet last year, he's turned up 2 in a row.
He has. He's well, here's the thing. Like I looked into Sam Petrovsky-Seton this week because I'm actually looking to do a trade and draft, and those who are in Slack they'll understand this.
Okay, fair. So, that's why you were perked up, right?
So I was looking at him as a potential in, so trading a player for SPS, and here's the issue: like his stats right now, if that was any regular season, he might be averaging 90 at best. Like, it's just inflated so much. He's only averaging 19 disposals a game, but it's like he's had 4 marks in 2 weeks. So he's averaging 2 marks a game, 2 tackles a game. Like, he doesn't do anything outside of use the ball well. So it's going to limit his potential scoring. Even though he's looking like he's on the up, if he doesn't play midfield, he'll never get there. He's only scored over 113 once in his career, which was a game where he played pure midfield last year, and then I got really excited. Because I thought, this transition's happening.
How'd that work out for you?
If he doesn't ever do that, he's always just going to be a half-back flanker that'll average somewhere in the 90s. He's not going to ever be a top-tier, either premium defender or midfielder, unless he transitions to midfield. So, I really like him, though. I wouldn't suggest him to anyone because there's always a chance as a half-back flanker, you just don't get the ball that day.
Also touching on Newman, injured for the season, I believe. So you're looking at Williamson possibly could be an in.
Yep.
I think it's about 140 odd, 47.
Great news for Doherty.
And good news for
Great news for Doherty.
Yep.
If you don't have Doherty, get Doherty right now. Yesterday, get Doherty.
Neil Bullen I thought was really good for Melbourne. But here's the funny thing. With Melbourne, they won the game.
Yep.
Right. Mind you, if they had have kept performing, and here's the funny thing, is that Carlton scored better
barely
than
won the
Melbourne.
Game, but yes.
Yeah, barely won. But Carlton scored better in Supercoach than Melbourne did, but Melbourne won the game. And Melbourne started better than Carlton, so it's almost like for those who did well early, we'll give you points, and then for the rest of you...
Well, I thought the game was over at quarter time, and then Melbourne switched off and Carlton
I was insulting Carlton. I said, imagine having... was it how many weeks off did they have? Like
3 months and still being shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, basically.
Whatever it is. Yeah,
and still not getting your game plan.
Well, a testament to the fact that Carlton kicked 7-11, which is 18 scoring shots, and Melbourne only had 14 with 8 goals 6.
Yep.
So that's unlucky for Carlton. It's a bit ironic. They probably deserve to win. I mean, even in the last minute of that game, Sam Walsh is rushing into the 450 on the half forward flank, and he just kicks a blind football over the top of their attack.
Oh yeah.
To an unmarked defender. What are you doing, Sam Walsh? Like, it's supposed to be a prodigy. Like, read the game. Don't just go long to...
He's been out of the game for a while. But anyway, Chris, it's ironic that they scored 7...
He should have done better.
He should have.
Room for improvement there, mate.
Yeah, write that down. It's ironic they scored 7-11, Chris, because apparently after that they went and got some pies and a Powerade.
That's exactly what you do at a 7-Eleven.
Right. Late night pie or a sausage roll and a Powerade. You could
like they're Krispy Kremes at 7-Eleven? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do now. They do now. Yeah, but back in the day it was just pie or a sausage roll. And
Mark Pitney is someone we should obviously touch on.
Yes, 100%.
He's 234,000 off the top of my head. Scored 134. I thought played absolutely fantastic against Gorn, to be honest. I thought, unfortunately, fortunately for him, it was clearly winning ruck taps either side. So if Gorn wasn't winning them, Pitney was and winning them well. And when Gorn was, he was winning them well. So they were both tapping really well, but they weren't really doing any defensive ruck work, unfortunately.
And again, with the ruck situation at the moment, so for me, stupidly, I was going to bring in Pitney last week, and I was like, oh, well, just to cover my Naismith. Mm-hmm. And or I was going to bring in Gorn, and instead, stupid me went Jacobs.
Yep.
Didn't work out very well. So this week, I'm like, you know what, stuff you, Jacobs, because I can. I think I might go Pitney, bank the 150k. Pitney's already looks like he's going to make 65k this week if he scores like 86. Which is highly likely.
Yep. What's he on? Pitney is...
It's not a usual situation, but I'm like, well, if I can use that 150k to upgrade someone sooner, Pitney is probably going to match Jacob's output and make more money, so catch you later. He's gone for me.
There's really two options for Pitney. If your team's good and you can afford to get him into your side and it's not going to impact you got no problems. I think go grab Pitney right now because you're just going to make more cash.
I don't think many people are going to be able to. I think people want to, but there's so many rookies. Like, as in, you look at your team. I'm lucky enough. I brought in Bennell and Rivers because I knew that I was going to be faced with some tough decisions this week.
Yep.
Now, there's Sturt. There's that Port Adelaide guy I can't even name.
Georgiadis.
Sounds like an Italian soccer player.
He's Greek, but yep, keep going.
He's what?
He's Greek.
Next door neighbours. Just a crapper economy.
Well, probably not now.
Greece. Greece is still cooked.
Italy after COVID.
Italy's still fine.
Yeah.
Elder population, mate. They'll just get more inheritance.
It's so ancient.
Anyway, so the thing is that you have choices to make. There's Bennells, there's Rivers, there's Georgiadis, there's Sturt, there is Pitney. You know what I mean? They're just the ones that we're kind of looking at.
However, I think that
it's a tough one for some people.
I think that Pitney averages a lot more than everyone else.
Yeah, but then if you've
Sturt's the sort of player that will come out this week and get a 30 potentially. If he doesn't kick a goal, he's getting 30.
Yeah, but the difference is that one costs you 123k to be on your pine, and the other one is $100,000 more expensive.
And by the way, I'm not entirely sure that Sturt does come in this week. If Hogan does,
I hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't too, so I can pick him up.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm big softish here. Yes.
But yeah, so look, I think if you don't have any problems in your team and you can afford to get Pitney in, I think he's good in. Yeah. At the very least, he's providing cover at R3. For me, in my situation, I've got so many more problems than potentially getting in a cash cow that can make me some cash. Like I've got like 800 problems in my team. I got 99 problems, and Pitney's not one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair call.
So you got to address what's more important in your team and go from there. But
so what is more important, Chris? Is it money making rookies or is it crappy ass premiums?
Oh, look, it depends on how bad your team is. Honestly, it depends. The worse your team is, the more it's like you need to jump on premiums that are going to put you in front. If you can't just, well, it depends on what your goal is as well. If your goal is league, that doesn't matter because really,
I think my goal has to be league. Surely,
if your goal is league, then what you can do is just go for the cash gen so that you can upgrade your players later, which is more important.
Yeah, true.
If your goal is overall performance, like overall score, you need to get in play, change out the players that are going to tank your team and get in players that are going up right now.
I don't know.
Because what's happening is the scores are so different than any other year that we're seeing a very huge trend for basically, first of all, goal-kicking midfielders.
Yes.
That are going to actually propel your team forward. They're going to be high averaging, but they're also really cheap right now.
It's doing my mind.
It's crazy. Like all these, so there's really guys that are going like way too expensive eventually, and you're not going to be able to get to them. And the guys that are expensive are going to drop to really cheap.
Like, you know how much I cried over my spreadsheet, Chris? All that work. But not only that, here's the thing though, I'm actually looking forward to next year, funnily enough, as far as Supercoach.
Oh yeah, I'm already looking.
The reason being is that...
Well, it definitely is not going to be my worst.
Well, the reason being is that people that normally would do well, so let's just say Josh Kelly and McRae keep their crappy ass roles. So let's touch on that. They're playing more outside than they are inside. Both have been a bit more on the wing, which is horrible. But if you go into a full season, it's like, okay, so hang on now. Let's look at who's overpriced. So the Jai Simpkins and everyone else is overpriced.
Jai Simpkin, Connor Rozee, Bailey Smith, all going to be super overpriced next year.
But overpriced if they have a good year this year. So now I'm like you're trying to look back at other seasons to work out what the average was, and then trying to look at natural progression to try and work out somewhere in the middle to pick your team.
Yeah, Josh Kelly will be $550K next year, and he'll be like, lock.
Yeah, right.
I'll take that one.
So you're going to look for those that maybe the scoring system didn't benefit this year. And that'll be a whole lot of other research, I think.
Moving on, next game, Gold Coast, West Coast. I mean, the GOAT, Matt Rowell, is already the GOAT. Second game in.
We're not even going to... Can we not touch on any West Coast players? Can we do that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm always...
You're still butthurt. How?
They'll probably get cut about it. I saw I shared this last night.
Dom Sheed got a 77.
Of course, that's good. That's really good for him.
Normally, Chris, no. Normally, he's just used to slotting straight sixes.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Wait.
Okay, yes, the Rowell show.
Before we got into that, I saw last night on Facebook, West Coast official Facebook page.
Oh, I saw that.
They say, McGovern didn't get off, like as if he was going to get off of punching someone in the face. Okay. Yeah. And the comments was the most boomer book thing I've ever seen.
It was like
all these old West Coast fans just spreading the AFL about how crap they are.
Yeah, Burgoyne should be suspended. If you suspend one, you have to suspend both because they're not separate incidents.
No, well, by the way, Burgoyne should have gone.
He should have.
But
I heard they changed the rules now, calling it the Burgoyne effect.
I think that's true. They haven't changed the rules at all, which is why it should 100% be a suspension. Like in
Mind you, if Dangerfield didn't have the hardest head in the competition,
I thought he looked dazed when he got up, but he was like, "Nah, I just got to play on." I didn't think he wanted to go off for a HIA. He looked a little bit dazed. Nah,
he has one of the hardest heads in football.
It does,
but he has a big head too. I think it just concrete.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, if you live in Adelaide, you have to have a concrete head.
But I just found that hilarious. I just couldn't believe you punch someone in the face, you're gonna get a week. I don't know what else you can sit on.
So let's touch on the Rowell show. I don't think I've ever seen a Supercoach score that high in someone's first couple of games.
Well, and you won't because that was super inflated. But I mean,
well, still, even then, if the game went longer, he would have just towed up more ball.
So Sam Walsh got a 140 last year.
Yeah.
That would have been a 170 this year. That game was that good.
But with contested ball, he would have scored. He would have kept that up in a win. He was that dominant. If the game went on for longer, he would have had 35 ball, and he would have had 20 contested possessions.
So here's what Rowell does
on fire.
That is better than most people at AFL level. I don't know how, but he always managed to bust a tackle. He gets the ball, and he can be wrapped up, and he just gets a handball out somehow. I don't know what he does. I don't know how he's that strong in the core at 18 years old.
Legs, core, it's ridiculous.
He's like Gaz in his prime. Like, you just can't get him around the waist to get... He'll just get that handball off, and usually he's pretty effective with it, left and right.
You know what the crap part is?
Oh, man.
I wish I tanked all last year in our keeper league.
Oh, you need him. The guy's going to be an absolute superstar, Supercoach.
He's going to be he's already... And even then, as in... Not only that, he actually makes good decisions. So he picks up contested ball, run this way, run that way,
His decision making is fantastic. He knows when to kick, he knows when to handball.
Handballs frees up someone, and then he gets the handball onto the pump. Literally 1-2, look down, bang, through the goal.
And no problem. We've already said he's not a goal kicking midfielder, but he got two kicks at goal and slotted them both.
I just can't. I just can't deal.
He's good. He's going to be great.
I can't deal.
So here's the thing. Next year, he's going to be super inflated. Like, he's going to be if he averages 100, 105 this year, is he going to be averaging that following year?
But remember how you said what average? You said 80. You're going to rejig that now?
I think that it's... Well, now the scoring system's changed, right?
Yeah, okay.
Would he have averaged... So this is a quick key question.
Yeah.
Would he average 80 in a regular scoring season or 86 like Sam Walsh did?
I reckon more with how he's playing. I reckon probably 90 would have been in a regular season. I reckon
is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So that means next year, if he's averaging 100, 105, which by the way means you're not going to ever punt him. If he's averaging 105, he's staying at M8.
This year, even this year, if he averages 90 plus, you're keeping him. So Rowell, unless you're going to try and trade him out, but again, you try and bring in any other premium. So you look at, say, Titch, who scored a 95. It's like, hey, Titch versus Real, 95 versus 170. Like, you might as well just keep him and put him on the bench and loophole him each week if you need to.
This is true. Well, and so he's amazing. But let's moving on.
I don't want to move on, Chris. He's just so good. I can't explain to you how good.
No, he's fantastic. He's definitely going to... I mean, I was thinking of dyeing my hair red before we came on.
Imagine Clary, how good his second season was. But his role's there. He's an inside midfielder.
Well, that's
that
also...
team.
I mean, it's the same with Sam Walsh at Carlton, right? He comes in first year. Oh, you're playing midfield, bro.
Imagine having both of them together.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, as in... Bull inside, classy, that can go inside, outside.
I mean, Sam Walsh's best trait is his endurance running. So,
yeah, that's what I meant. If you had both of them, that's like the dream team. They're going to be like literally the Supercoach sisters. They just double them up, put them in together.
It's C. Judd and G. Ablett all over again.
We just did that.
Anyway.
Double them up, put it in together. Right. You're right.
Sam Day played really well. I regret trading Lockie Weller. He was on 60 at halftime, and I don't think he got enough love for his game.
Yeah.
Played really well, but...
In wins, though, again.
Yeah, again. Having said that, I traded Weller, of course. I traded him to Dodie, because I thought that would be a really good... Trading him to Dodie allowed me to go Tom Green up to Viney. So, Viney only went 86. Dodie only went like 38. And Weller, on his own, got 100. So I'm really glad that I made those trades. It was really good.
The trade I was going to make, Chris, would have scored me 2250. And the trades I went with scored me, and the captain I went with scored me 2050 or 2040 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was bad.
Not my worst.
Yeah. Now, Greenwood played all right, considering he had, I think he had like 6 or 7 clangers in his game, but still managed 95, which is good. I was really impressed with Sean Lemon's game, even though his Supercoach score wasn't fantastic. But, yeah, look, I don't think there's too much to talk about on West Coast side. I mean, obviously, Gaff is going to have a 130 game every now and again. Shuey's going to have a 116. Yo, I don't know how he scraped together that 110. It was
Brander finished better than he started, so I think he still has a lot of merit.
He was spreading the ball. He's the guy that they look for the outlet kick on the other wing. So I actually thought he was decent. And look,
wouldn't surprise me if he was one of their best at one time. Brander,
that's because West Coast were terrible.
Brander, the barometer, they'll call him.
I like it. Now moving on, the absolute. They call it the showdown. I call it the ass kicking. Port Adelaide. Adelaide is that bad.
It was bad.
Adelaide are that bad.
Except for Riley O'Brien, but again benefiting from the ruck rule. Funnily enough, Gold Coast favourite this week.
Oh, and they should be because Adelaide are bad.
And Gold Coast
very bad.
Gold Coast actually look like they have their stuff together. Fremantle aren't actually as bad as I thought they were, although I also think that reflects on how poor I think Brisbane are at the moment.
Yep.
They're not clicking at all, and it shows that because Hawthorn ran them over, and then Hawthorn got run over. And then you look at Fremantle, Fremantle actually did really well. I think Gold Coast are definitely highly improved. It would not surprise me if Adelaide were bottom of the ladder this year.
Oh, I think Gold Coast will wipe them out this week. I honestly don't see Adelaide. Oh, man, they are so bad. They had a lot of rookies playing in Shaw, but man, they are just terrible.
Adelaide have some really good players, and then there's no one.
I don't even think they have any really good players.
No, Sloan, they do.
I think Sloan got injured.
Sloan, the Crouch brothers, Laird, Smith, but then after that, you look at the bottom end. No, but
even them.
You look at the bottom end.
Tier?
Kelly,
which one of them is a top 10 player right now?
No, but they're still quality players, right?
But you look, Kelly Sloan was a great midfielder. I don't know if he is anymore.
Yeah, but Kelly, Seedsman, Crocker, McHenry, Keys. I mean, they're relying on Keys, so they're desperate.
Yep.
Dodies, Jones, Murphy, McCasey, Brown, Atkins.
Great youth.
Atkins, you can sure he's experienced, but he's
him. Yeah. Get rid of him now.
Fogarty,
liability.
And then after that, Tom Lynch, Talia, Brad Crouch, Tex Walker, over it. Miller, Laird, Sloan, Matt Crouch, O'Brien. So they have a few, but the arse end of it is falling out.
Conversely, man, Connor Rosie, I tell you what, that kid
is
so good.
Jeez, imagine now putting Rosie with Walsh and with Rao in a keeper league. You would be loving life, 100%.
I currently have traded him in. I all preseason I was hot on him in the top 10. I gave him some love in the top 10
but
podcast.
These new rules though,
I actually put him at 4, I think.
Here's the thing, you actually had real high on him. These rules definitely help him. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he was top 10. Here's my concern though, Chris. Port have won both of their games.
Yes, against shit opposition.
Have played. Who'd they play the first one? Was it Fremantle?
Did they play Freo?
I can't remember.
That sounds like that.
No, Fremantle would have been over here. Oh, who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, but
it
they played
so long ago. It was like
Essendon. I think they held off Essendon.
I don't think so.
I don't know. No, Fremantle were Essendon. Who knows? But anyway, they've won 2 games. He scored well in 2 games.
They played Gold Coast.
That's right. They flogged Gold Coast.
They flogged Gold Coast. So they probably flogged the 2 bottom teams.
They flogged Gold Coast and they've flogged Adelaide. So they're not going to get those again. You're playing everyone once. So my concern is that when you're looking at Port Adelaide players, they're not going to get the same again.
Potentially, or they could get on a run. Now remember,
I don't want them to.
Looking for reasons to not pick people is something I'm not doing this year because it's not my worst. But that's why I did last year. That's why I didn't pick Marshall. That's why I did,
Yes, true. And again, if you enjoy watching Rosie play like everyone should, then put him in your side.
But I mean, if you watch the game, the guy's a freaking freak.
He is. I said that from the time that I watched him play Brisbane and kick 5 on us. I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
I was like, he is so good.
I understand, your reservations about someone like Todd Marshall, which can be hot or cold. And don't get me wrong, he's actually coming to fruition and he's playing good football.
Yeah, yep.
But I can see him as a guy that, could get 110 one week and then get 50 the next. Rosie is that good. I don't know, how do you turn his off switch? Because he's that good. So, look, he's the number 1 ranked forward right now. He's only 477k. And currently my trades are, Dan fucking Houston, get the fuck out of my team.
Sure.
And I'm going straight to Rosie. So I'm just doing a little bit of I had a defender forward in the forward line. And
right, okay. I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I wish I had a defender forward in my forward line or a forward mid in my forward line because I'm stuffed.
I actually engineered that last week with my 5 trades to get more flexibility. And I'm like,
I don't want Houston in there. And Dusty's out, so I was wishing that maybe I could push a forward mid into the forward line and make Dusty a midfielder, which would have been amazing.
I can do that this week because also what I did this week is I had Connor Butterick and my Pine I put last week. So I can just go Dusty onto the bench in midfield and I can bench. I've actually got Devon Smith playing at M6 right now. So... Anyway, that's how bad my team is, guys. It's really good.
All right, let's move on.
Ebert has actually... one thing I will say about Ebert. Now, Brad Ebert is playing really, really good football, and he has the role now for it. So he's playing midfield, but also pinch hitting forward.
Because he was just forward last year.
Yeah, so last year, he really only was playing forward. This year's playing a lot more mid-time, but he's still playing... he's basically playing... out of the square or then on a half-forward flank and then in midfield. He's rotating pretty much through all of them. And a lot of them are, you got Robbie Gray that does that too. Rosie's doing that. A lot of them are rotating and they're basically doing this circle of between forward and midfield. He's playing absolutely brilliantly and he got I think he's averaging 115.5. Draft League special. I wouldn't necessarily suggest him in standard, but I think he's great in drafts. He's actually the 6th highest averaging forward right now.
After Port's 2 games, I would be actually, if I held any of those players, they are great trade bait. No offense. If you have Rosie,
I'll try to trade for Sam Paterski-Seaton.
Who?
Ebert, yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No, I meant Rosie would be a pretty penny right now.
So in one of my leagues, I've got 4 of the top 10. Actually, 4 of the top 7 averaging forwards.
Jeez, calm down.
So I got Bailey Smith, Connor Rosie, Brad Ebert, and Gary Ablett.
Calm down, Paige.
It's all right. Anyway, as I said, Marshall's going well. Butters again, proving that he was a very, very good selection. That kid's a jet.
Kick off the ground, awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyway, moving on. I think we've touched on that game enough. We've got GWS and North, which was annoying to watch. Is one way to put it.
North. Kudos to them. Here's the funny thing.
Are North playing good or are GWS playing bad?
Both. North are playing better than I expected. I think they're playing with a real hunger. They wanted it for longer, and that showed. They kicked the goals when it mattered. GWS are the... I don't know, who is more disappointing, GWS or the Dogs for the first 2 games?
GWS.
Yeah.
GWS should be the...
Top 4, right? No, Dogs were hoping it would be...
GWS have the best list in the AFL by... an unbelievable margin.
Yep.
An unbelievable margin. They should be running away with the competition almost every year. They've got the healthiest list they've had since Leon Cameron took over coaching, pretty much.
Yeah.
There is no excuse. I have literally no sympathy for them.
My excuse is that they're probably just bored spending weeks in Western Sydney, to be honest. How do you switch on? You're sitting in Western Sydney.
I don't think any of them live in Western Sydney. I think they all live in Bondi or something stupid.
That's a long way to go, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's...
Isolation.
Traffic wasn't that bad over the time.
True. catching up with the buddies.
I don't know. Look, they're just so talented and they just can't string it together. I just have no idea why.
Here's the thing. I'm actually looking at the players from the Dogs and for GWS that I don't have, because if they're losing and they're not doing well, their scores are horrible at the moment, so they're going to drop. Right, yep. So I'm happy. Cornelio has done really well for his price point.
Yep.
However, Whitfield, not too bad. Josh Kelly, not too bad. Not setting the world alight, but they're losing cash. Zach Williams, not a great game coming back, but again, on a loss.
His role was really disappointing.
Line? Who puts him in the forward line?
I don't understand what they're doing with Zach. When they win games, I can guarantee you there's two things that happen. Zach Williams is playing defense and he's chopping off every ball. He's using his elite foot skills out of that defense, or it's Lachie Whitfield. Lachie Whitfield gets shut down. Zach Williams should be going back into defense. I don't understand why they're not. It frustrates me.
Well, I expect some changes. I expect some hunger.
Between Leon Cameron and Bevo, it's like, who's the worst coach?
Well, not only that, there's a lot to play for this week because they're both 0-2. There'll be an Owen amongst them. So I actually think both teams will pull it out. I actually think this game will be a cracker because of they played each other last year and GWS flogged them, I think, in that final to progress. Yep. For the Brisbane game. So I think this will be a hot match. I think both will be bringing it out and making changes accordingly. No more mucking around with crappy changes of positions. You need to play them in their right spots. You need to get them lined up. So interesting.
On the north side of things, one thing is for sure, the midfield functions better with Jai Simpkin in it. Let's be honest. He's very
maybe
good. They were waiting for that to develop, but they were missing X factor. If Sean Higgins wasn't on fire, they literally had no one else. Like, Cunnington's that good inside guy, but he suffers on the spread. He's not really a good user by foot. So they really needed that person that was good, that explosiveness, that X factor around the ball. And Jai Simpkins really provide that, especially in the first couple of games this year.
And he looks good.
He looks huge.
Yeah, right.
He really filled out. The last 12 months, if you had a photo of him at the start of last year...
He can fill me out.
Filled out? Wasn't your worst.
Not my worst. Not my worst.
He looks fantastic. I actually really like the trade in for Jai Simpkin.
Yeah.
If it's going to somehow benefit your team. I know
I was looking at him last week. Problem was he jumped up 40k. He was 380k. He was an absolute bargain.
He's still cheap.
I looked at him. He's 424. Interesting though as well. I think they've drafted quite well, Doc. So the North Melbourne, because when you put in, say, Simpkin and you put in a Taron Thomas, that you have players that have a bit of skill and some flair, and I think both of those are really good additions to their side.
Yeah, they are. And Goldie, of course, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's playing 100% game time.
He's fit. He's a beast.
Like, we always knew he could run out of game, but they're just like, nah, we don't even need a second ruckman.
No.
Don't worry about a chop out. We don't need a chop out either.
He's so
because
fit.
Because he's running 100% game time, which means I think Goldie's a great in. If you don't have, potentially, he's averaging 150 right now. I don't see the point you don't necessarily need Gawn. Because if he's going to be 100% game time and be in that many ruck contests, he had 16 contested possessions the other day. Just that'll do, pig. That'll do.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me with these ruck rules. If you don't have Gawn and you don't have Grundy starting right now as a 1 and 2, you could definitely point a difference at. The
amount that rucks are getting this season, there's a handful of rucks. You don't necessarily need to have Gawn.
Yeah.
Or Gawn Grundy combination, but you do need to have 2 premium rucks.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
I think that's fairly evident. So, moving on, Sydney and Essendon. So, which team's worse? Honestly, first of all,
that was bad.
I'll just say that on Essendon's side of things, oh my god, Dev Smith has to be the luckiest Supercoach player of all time. He plays some terrible football and gets rewarded for just he got the goal assist that won them the game.
Yeah, and he got that goal from the
freaky goal from a pocket that he just throws in. He's the worst kick in football, but he gets a freaky goal from the corner. And is it Acker or is it Devon Smith? And I'm like, mate, he's not that good.
Jeez.
Calm down.
No, he didn't do it.
Try and compare him to Acker.
He didn't do it on his left from 50 on the boundary.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I
thought Dom
take that comparison.
I thought Dom Sheed was the worst kick in football, Chris. Or has he moved up a level? Here's my thing.
He's on his left though.
Here's my thing about Devon Smith though. I wouldn't be bringing him in straight away. He was cheap. He scored a couple of hundreds, but also they've won 2 games in a row. The minute they lose,
and Sydney
Devon, exactly, and so the minute that they lose, Essendon, you might see Devon actually getting a 60 or less.
I think look, I still think that Devon will probably average at least. Say, here's the thing, though, right? If that game is last year's scoring, there's no way knowing it's 105.
Correct.
No way. It might be a 90 at best.
Petrarca still probably would have been the same, I think, for this game. Maybe close to.
I think he's actually. I think he was undersold. Robbed. Just yeah.
We are biased. Hashtag.
Yeah. Having said that, Darcy Parish had the best last quarter of football I've ever seen him play.
70, wasn't it?
Yeah, he played in the forward in midfield. Now then, the whoosh comes on post match and said, "Oh, he just loves being around the footy." Put him on the ball, for God's sakes.
Yeah, he was hiding for 3 quarters.
Oh, you have just like the worst midfield it's set up that I've ever seen.
Yep.
You've got a guy that's coming into his prime at a young age. He's hungry for the ball. He's proven that he's actually a decent footballer, and you're like, nah, leave him in the forward line where he does next to nothing because he's not a forward.
At some point, Parish will be
blows my mind.
Parish will go midfield. He will be killing it at some point this year.
And in the
some point
in the nice reverse ruckman stakes, Bell Chambers is going fantastic with a nice little 43.
But some of them, if they're not doing it, if they're getting dominated, they're scoring horrible.
Well, he did get dominated. He got dominated by Sinclair, which was 144.
Jacobs has had a bad game. Rucks have been going huge or small as.
Still, if you need to get the hit outs to advantage for it to benefit you. Having said that, Sam Draper is listed as test this week.
Ooh.
So there's every chance that he could come in the next few weeks if his fitness is up. And I'm not sure where that's at, but...
How much is Draper? Is he cheap?
123k. So keep an eye on him because he could be a great pit down.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on him.
Yep.
So see how we go. Townsend again proved that he's a terrible footballer. But let's go to your favourite...
you're going to town and you're sending it, Chris. It's the town send.
How's Dan Rampy treating you, mate? How's he going? You love that? Did you love it?
No, well, look.
Are we empty? I'm really.
I'm parched. No, this format definitely suited him. He is this format suits him more than most.
It does it? Because he didn't average well last year, did he?
No, he didn't. Good on him. I was big on Rampy for years, and then the minute I say no, he's no good. He's doing it to spite me.
I think he is. 149 from Rampy puts him as the second highest averaging defender right now, behind ye old Jeremy Howe. So
he's 543.
He's too expensive now. You can't pick him up now.
He's like 100k more than Houston. I can't do it.
And of course Jake Lloyd comes in and chips in with a nice 145. He was basically
seagull. Literally
had no one on him the entire second half of football. I've no idea. He's running forward and kicking a goal from 45 out with no one. There's no one around. There's literally no one. He's just like, oh, there's a free ball. I might go pick it up and kick a goal. Essendon were just... I can't believe they won that game. They were playing that bad. I thought Sydney were playing, catch-up most of the game because Essendon would just get a goal and just get a goal ahead or 2 goals ahead. And then Sydney would come back and they would chip back. They probably had the lion's share of winning the game, but Essendon just kept getting... Every time they came back, Essendon would get 1 or 2 really quick goals. And then Sydney would spend the next 10 minutes trying to get back. And they did. And then Essendon would get 2 quick goals. It was a strange game.
So quick shout out as well to your mate Chris Dawson, 45.
Oh, he's going terrible.
That has to hurt.
It does hurt.
Did we officially call a parlay between Mills and your mate? Because that was $100. That was $100 bet, Chris.
I'm open to everything because that's what I am. But
here's the thing though, I think if anything the odds are well in my favour now. This short format, Mills can intercept. He can then kick off. And Dawson is a spud. Well, so
he's not a spud. He's been turning the ball over quite a bit.
Playing that, but I think...
Not in a good way.
Yeah, I think... Are we parlaying it and putting it on next year?
I think most of our bets are parlayed this year, aren't they?
I think mostly. Yeah, because everything's up... We just enjoy our football this year. There's no point in...
I think even our bet...
I don't want to take $100 off you just because the rules changed and Dawson spun.
Let's be honest. We're going to probably spend $100 on each other anyway and just go get drunk at poker or something like that. How good was poker the other week? Oh, you would love that.
I cleaned up.
Yeah.
You still owe me money, Chris.
Do it?
Yes, for the thing that I paid you for that you were meant to do but you never did, and now people are angry, Chris.
Oh, yes. No, they will be done. Yes, they will be. Yes.
When? You have my money.
Our money. Ours.
No. I gave you community money plus my money, so it is technically our money, except you haven't bought it yet, which makes it my money.
We're talking about our stubby coolers that we've had designed, but we haven't had them made yet.
The thing that I thought that we already ordered and never arrived because it was COVID. And I was like, hey Chris, where's the stuff? And
they literally put everything on hold because of COVID, and I haven't recontacted them yet. So
okay.
But I also haven't paid them yet, so I go with it.
Exactly, which is why he owes me money.
But we will get them out, I think, in the next couple of weeks, because their distributor, the guys that were designing it, I think they're getting shipments in now. So I'm pretty confident that they'll be able to do them. But I haven't contacted them in like 6 weeks, I'll be honest. Anyway, moving on. On to the next match, St Kilda Bulldogs. So, again, Saints proving that they actually are decent.
Their end's huge. Butler, highly underrated this game. He killed it. All of them, though. Zach Jones have really contributed. Steele is one I think could really benefit from this year.
He's actually not running with anymore. He's hunting the
he's
football.
Not running with. Not only that, he doesn't have to have a big tank. He can get his contested ball, and he's impactful. He could go big. I just think, maybe not top 6, maybe not top 10, but I think he is definitely draft relevant hugely. Almost standard relevant to the point where I wouldn't mind backing him in for 547k.
I'm probably not going to in standard.
I wouldn't.
I definitely would.
But not my worst.
It definitely wasn't your worst.
Not my worst. Maybe we would.
In draft, I think he's an absolute awesome option. Look, he's got the ability to. He's got a full rounded game if he's not chasing someone the whole day. But he obviously tackles in high numbers. He is pretty efficient by foot. Can kick goals. You know, what else do you want? He's going to have big games. And then he's going to have games where he's a little bit under. So here we go. Billings was fantastic also in that game. Gresham proving again that he's just a jet. I really like Gresham. I'll always like him.
Oh, for sure.
The guy that I was really impressed with, though, was Hunter Clark. He seems to be a little bit everywhere right now.
Just quickly, Steele, 128 round 1, 137 round 2.
Yeah, he's going all right, eh?
Jeez, I want him.
Yeah.
Who's got him?
I don't know, but it's going to cost you a lot at that average. The one I was obviously disappointed. I traded in Ben Long this game. I'm going to give him one more week and then see how that goes.
Oh, jeez, I think Long's shriveling by the second, Chris.
Yeah, it's not fantastic.
Penis joke.
Geary was playing as a forward tagger, and he's actually unfortunately out this week. So I want to know how that shapes their side this week. Whether that can free Ben Long up in defence. They might put him forward.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Geary only scored a 30, which means he's actually negatively geared.
That's not
no.
I respect it. I mean, it's good. Sometimes your lame jokes hit a mark just because they're super lame. That was one of them.
What? That was an intellectual joke, Chris, which is
maybe
why
it wasn't your worst.
Not my worst. We're gonna annoy people this year. You know what? It's not our worst.
It's definitely not our worst.
As long as we don't get complaints.
This is true. So obviously on the dog side, Dunkley was fantastic. Bailey Smith was decent. Decently awesome because he's top 6 forward now, which is great. Paddy Lipinski with a 97. And then about that stops there. I think Dunkley a little bit got robbed. His disposal hurt him definitely, but he had 7 tackles in the first.
Yeah, I think his role is safe.
Yeah.
McRae's been on the outside, but also Seagull Hunter's been suspended for that whole drink crash.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting when he comes back in.
There was a time when Bont had 2 AFL Dream Team points or fantasy points, whatever, and he was on 27 Supercoach points. How is that even possible?
It's the name, Chris.
Oh, yes, of course.
And it's
how many letters you have in your name compared to how much you actually score.
I'll tell you what, it's partial, right? So 50% it's their name, and 50% is if the champion data assessing the game has that person in their team.
This is true. It makes sense. I can see it clearly now. Thank you for pointing it out.
It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. You just don't understand. We don't understand how Supercoach is graded this year.
This is true.
And we enjoy it when it works out well, and then we complain and say it's not our worst when it doesn't.
This is true. Now, I just want to quickly run through everyone that is on the bubble in terms of this week, in terms of gaining cash.
Yes.
But I just also want to point out that there really isn't a right answer this week. There is about 40... No, there's not 40. There's about 10 different guys you could just get into your side.
I think Rivers is a good one. He played well. I think Sturt... He scored 100, but he could easily score you a 30.
Problem with Sturt is that, and what's his role going to be with Hogan in? Like, who knows?
Georgiades, similarly, they played Gold Coast in a massive win and he scored well. Doesn't mean he'll score well every week. They start to have harder games. It could be hard.
Did you know? This is crazy. Matt Rowell is tipped to gain 97k this week.
Far out. What is he?
He's 280k.
So he went up 77 and he could go up
even more. So if you don't have Matt Rowell, you probably should get him in because you're going to make 100k in 1 week. He's the number one trading
Surely
target.
not many people don't.
I think he's in like 70% of teams. But if you don't have him, I don't know why you wouldn't get him. Obviously, Pitney is more of a specific team thing. Howe is still tipped to make 49k. So if you're looking to get in a defender, I'd still look at getting in Jeremy Howe.
485. And they play Saints too. Saints, he'll probably be playing on like King and Ryder. He'll be tailing up.
Yeah, I think he'll go all right this week. I'll be honest with you.
You're right. I could either lose 20k if Houston has a good game, or I can make 50.
It's true.
That's what it sounds like.
So Naismith is obviously still there, but I don't think he will play this week. Horse said after the game on Sunday it's unlikely, but then the next day the fitness guy at Sydney said, "Oh, he's still a chance to play. We got to get through all the week and blah blah blah." So, it's a bit up in the air. I'm really hoping he does get up, but if not, then that's an issue. I suppose with Pitney there, if you're going to trade one in, you're probably trading in Pitney. However, there's 2 things I will say about Pitney. One, they updated Cruiser to 8 to 10 weeks out. He was down to like 4 to 6, and is now back out to 8 to 10. So do
you reckon De Koning now would take him, or you think it's
De Koning's actually listed as a test this week?
Yeah, but surely Pitney, it's his to lose.
Well, I would say that Pitney is probably ahead because obviously, especially this week.
Yeah.
But De Koning is touted as a better player, but he's younger. So Pitney's had a little bit more experience, obviously at VFL level. Never really had his crack at AFL.
Yeah.
But it's one bad week.
Yeah.
One bad week, he's out, and De Koning's in. So that's a serious thing you need to consider when you're taking in Pitney. Similarly, Sam Naismith, one bad week, Carl Sinclair's in.
Yeah.
And there's all chances that because of Sinclair's good week, that Naismith, they just rest him an extra week this week anyway.
Yeah. And then if Sinclair's another good week, then maybe Naismith will have to fight the door down to get back in.
It's frustrating, but it is what it is.
It is.
Georgiadis, of course, he's tipped to gain another 50k this week at 130k.
His first 50k.
Yep.
So.
And Pickett's still got a break even of -40, which is crazy. Listed at 161, so he'll still make another 50k this week with that 97 still in his cycle from round 1.
Yep.
Todd Marshall is tipped to rise another 50k with his 127 last week. He's got a break even of -21. So if I don't advise him as a player, to be honest, but I've picked him up in a few draft teams. He was available in draft, so definitely check him out. Curtis Taylor's obviously there. 46k is tipped to rise at 173k. So if you need a 40 and you don't have him, you can still pick him up.
Viney's tipped to go up, 100? Another 45.
Another 45k for Viney, yep. So that'll be good. He has a break-even of 2. So if you're going to trade out Viney, it's probably going to be next week or the week after if you did trade him in last week.
He'll make you that 100k, or if he has, well, it depends. If he has another good round, though, you might keep him for a bit longer. This is true. So it depends.
Connor Rozee, if you don't pick him up this week, he's going to be over 500k, and probably for the rest of the year. He's currently 471k. He's got a -4 break even, and he's going to tip to go up to 43k this week.
No,
so
not a fan.
I love it. I love him. Outside of that, so Max King, he's got a break even of -31 and tipped to go up 40k. He's listed at 156k. I probably would not touch him, but each their own. As I said, Rivers is still going to go up quite considerably. He's tipped to go up 35k this week if he hits his break even. And then you've got the big dogs. Lockie Neal is going to go up 34k this week if you don't pick him up and he hits his break even. And Goldstein's going to go up 35k as well. So those are guys that if you really, really need them, and I'd hazard to guess that everyone really, really needs Lockie Neal.
Yeah, until he gets tagged at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, look,
someone tag him.
Some opposition coach has got to say.
Surely they just try and gang up on him this week. Surely.
Yeah, well, surely. Well, I mean, we say that, but
Yeah, you never know.
Now having a look at captains and vice captains, bro. So have you had a chance to think about
I got no idea because I have the worst team ever. Okay,
it wasn't your worst.
No, I have not my worst. I have Grundy, Cripps, Josh Kelly, Dunkley.
Oh, Grundy might not even be playing.
Exactly.
Dusty's definitely out.
Yeah, I'm cooked. which means that if I had Gorn or Neil, that would have been the wise option. But yeah, I'm in trouble. There you go.
I was going to VC Dusty on Thursday night, so that's gone out the window, and I have no idea. The other option was Titch, but I'm a little bit tedious with Titch because of the whole shoulder issue thing. Even though they won't obviously tag him, so I don't know. I probably won't. On Friday night, we've got the Dogs and Giants. So you've got an option there. Obviously with De Boer probably going to Bontempelli, I'd say. Dunkley is the one if you have Dunkley.
Yeah,
if you want to VC Dunkley.
I think I might VC Dunkley. And then, you know what? I might even just make Raul my captain against Adelaide. It could be good. Bit of a laugh.
And then, so the early Saturday game is North versus Sydney. So if you've got Goldie, that'll be a nice VC.
Yeah.
Sydney, I probably wouldn't recommend anyone.
Goldie Gorn, you'd be laughing.
Once you hit Collingwood, obviously Grundy's the obvious option. So you either, if you have VC before, you captain Grundy. Otherwise, you VC Grundy on the Saturday afternoon game, 4:35, and then you've got heaps of options for captains. Saturday night, you've got Lachie Neale versus West Coast with no Mark Hutchings, but he might get a run with from Yo. You've got Danger versus Carlton on Sunday. That could go all right, but Danger's already been once shy, twice bitten, you know what I'm saying? Raul against Adelaide. And then you've got, of course, Gawn versus Bell Chambers on the Sunday afternoon.
Oh, towel up.
That was out of bounds.
Hey!
Someone just subscribed to us, I think.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, thank you for following us. Yay!
Thank you very much. Whitfield dropped some. I think once they perform, they'll be doing a bit better. Let's jump quickly across to the Twitch stream, Chris, and look at some of these questions. We might actually finish up this stream here and answer these questions offline. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Might be, again, though, if you do send us emails and messages saying, hey, fix our team, don't be surprised if we don't respond too much to some of those.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst.
Not our worst. It's the team. Anyway, thank you very much. Look, we'll get to these Twitch stream questions now. And we might leave it to do. Hey, Chris?
Yes, well, we will. Yeah, we'll jump straight in. So we're just going to go through them now on the pod?
No, I reckon we just end it up and then
answer
some of these questions. And
well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have an amazing weekend of football. And look, I suppose at the end of the day, are we just happy that footy's back?
I'm just happy.
Yeah.
Not even lying. I enjoyed the weekend, even though, just enjoy it for what it is.
Yep, fair enough.
All right,
we love you. We leave you.
Enjoy, bless yourself, and hey, mind you, blessed Bennell did all right.
Did all right.
Hashtag blessed Bennell again for week 2. All right, thanks everyone. Catch you next time. Bye.